Hey guys, Aaron here with Functional Aesthetics in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So today's video is a follow-up to a previous video I did on fixing anterior pelvic tilt. And from that video, I explained that anterior pelvic tilt is when you have, everybody has a normal amount of anterior pelvic tilt, which is having the hips tip forward a little bit like this. However, anything greater than about 10 degrees tipping forward, as you can see from the belt buckle here, if I come forward like this, causing my butt to stick out of the back, causing the hips to tip forward, throws off the alignment through the rest of my body, as I explained in that previous video. So in that video, I also explained how there is a force couple. So your skeleton supports your structure and in your body against gravity. Then your muscles support your skeleton, keeping a even tension between the different muscles in your body. So the force couples that act on the hip are the hip flexors in the front, quadriceps a little bit, your glutes in the back, your hamstrings, as well as the erector spinae muscles in your lower back. Okay, so in that video, I explained that the hip flexors help to pull the pelvis, tip it forward by pulling down on the front of it and pulling it forward. Then I explained that the hamstrings and the glutes in the back, by helping to extend the hips, they help to pull the pelvis down in the back. So a lot of people, I also explained in that video how a lot of people, due to sitting for much of the day, tend to have shortened hip flexors and weak glutes, thereby causing this anterior pelvic tilt. And I said that if you're doing a lot of deadlifts in the gym and not paying much attention to the abdominal muscles, you can also get this increase there by the erector spinae muscles pulling up on your pelvis in the back. In that video, I then went on to explain or demonstrate some self-massage techniques as well as some stretching exercises to preface the strengthening exercises that I will show you in this video today. So in this video, I'm going to start out by showing you some exercises to do to strengthen up the hamstrings as well as the glutes. I'm going to start with an exercise to activate the glutes. A lot of times, like as I mentioned previously, when the hip flexors become shortened and the glutes will become inactive, or as we call it, quotes, shut off, due to prolonged sitting throughout the day. So first you want to switch it on, so I'm going to show you an exercise how to do that. Okay, so this exercise, there's probably a couple different exercises you can do, but you want to start out with the most basic exercise, progressing to slightly more difficult exercises as you go. So this one, you're going to stand with your feet and rotate them outward. The reason why you're going to rotate your feet out is because your glutes, one of their functions, in addition to extending the hips, is to externally rotate the thigh. So you want to turn your feet out like this to get that started. Then, as I talked about before, since the glutes help to pull down the pelvis in the back, if your glutes are sticking out the back like this, you're going to want to bring them forward, right? So how do you bring them forward? Well, if the glutes pull in down, you want to squeeze your glutes together to rotate your hips under. And you're going to hold that position with your hips rotated under like that. Try to keep your shoulders back as well when you do this. And hold it for about 30 seconds at a time. Do 2 to 3 sets of that. And you can do that, when you get home from work. You can do that when you're taking a break from watching TV or whatever. Whatever it is, real simple exercise to do. That's going to help turn those glutes on. All right, so now that you have your glutes activated, we're going to progress this a little bit further and move you on to an exercise to start strengthening the glutes a little bit. So, the right exercise to do this is kind of like doing a bird dog. So, you start in the all fours position. If you want, you can actually go up over the top of the stability ball, use the back of a chair or the seat of a chair or something like that. If you need more range of motion for your legs. Me, I have a little bit longer legs, but the basic idea is that when you're doing this, remember that the the glutes work to extend the hips and also to externally rotate them. So what you want to do is get yourself in a position that you can come down, your leg can come down far enough to go through that full range of motion. Me, I need to go up a little bit higher. You're going to come down and then try to keep your pelvis tucked under, right? To keep your back, your lower back flat. Don't want to be arching your back because that's compensating and starting to use your lower back then. So keep that, your abs contracted, pelvis rotated under, and then lift your glutes up as high as you can without rotating that, without arching the back. You're going to do that maybe 10 to 12 times each side, and then do that for about 2 sets. All right, so there are a lot of great exercises for building strength in your glutes, but for sake of time, I'm going to keep it to one exercise right now. So, you know, you could be doing hip dips, like I call them, on the bench, or hip bridges, but this is a great exercise to work not only your glutes, but your hamstrings a little bit as well. So this is called the Romanian Deadlift, and what you're basically going to do, you come down, keep your legs slightly bent, and then you're going to push through your heels to bring the bar back up. Now, if you keep your knees a little bit straighter, it'll even work those hamstrings better. You get a great stretch, but you got to make sure you're very mobile, and as it can cause some strain there behind the knee. To increase the effect to the glutes, you can also turn your feet out like we did in that other one. Turn them out slightly. And come up like that. And also be aware to not arch your lower back too much, as that will take some of the strain off of the glutes and put it into your back. Okay, so now that we worked on strengthening up the hamstrings a little bit and the glutes, as I said before, the extensors of your back help to pull the pelvis up in the back. So if you have that anterior pelvic tilt, chances are those erector spinae muscles are going to be tight. So you want to do a couple of stretches, stretch those out. One of those stretches is simply just going to touch your toes like this. However, you can keep kind of a slight bend in your knees to take the emphasis off so much the hamstrings and put a little bit more on your lower back. You can also get kind of the side a little bit here too by crossing, kind of like you would for a glute stretch, and then bending over to that side. Or you can do it while you're standing, cross over, hug behind your legs, and basically turning your hips up to stretch out the lower back there. Okay, so after you've done some stretches to help lengthen out the muscles in your lower back, you are now going to do some exercises to strengthen your abdominal muscles, specifically the ones responsible for pulling your pelvis into that posterior position. So we stretch the muscles in the back first to help loosen that area up, to make it easier for the muscles in the abdominal region to bring about that posterior pelvic tilt, or rather a more neutral alignment. So the ab exercise I'm going to do is a very basic one. It's called a reverse crunch. You've probably seen this done before, and the reason I do it is because it is most similar to the motion that you want when you're trying to fix that anterior pelvic tilt and rotate the hips backwards. So to do this one, you lay on the ground, put your hands next to your hips to kind of brace you. Stick your feet up in the air. You're going to rotate your hips backwards so that your lower back is flat into the ground. And then you're going to push your feet up towards the ceiling and slightly back over your head. It's kind of like that. Come back down. And then to intensify the movement, lower your knees down just to the point where you feel like your lower back is starting to arch a little bit. And when you lose control of your lower back, just before that point, that's when you want to reverse it, bring it back up. And to add that element of difficulty, you can then remove your hands from the floor, put them behind your head, to help you have more endurance for the exercise as well. Be sure to use proper breathing mechanics, so breathe in as you are lowering your legs down, exhale as you're bringing your legs back up. Or you can hang from a pull-up bar like this and do hanging leg raises, but with a slight twist. So the kicker here is that you can further increase your anterior pelvic tilt if you do this wrong. So you want to make sure that your lower back isn't arching when you're doing this. So to help ensure that, if your abdominals are not yet strong enough, you are going to bring your legs up and then lower them down just until you feel that tension starting to come off. Bring them back up. Lower them down, bring them back up. Working on those lower abdominals just like that. Alright guys, there you have it. A couple of practical exercises for you to work on to help to balance out the muscles that act onto your hips, to improve your posture, correct the anterior pelvic tilt. If you're having any back problems, it will definitely help with that. It will help as well if your stomach tends to hang out the front here. Helps tuck that in just by rotating your hips under. Having stronger glutes is also great for improving the health of your knees and will make you better at sports, have more power, jumping, etc. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to share it with your friends. Also, if you have any comments or additional thoughts, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. And we'll see you all next time for more health and fitness related information. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you next time.